that's a definite get back in the door. That's the one thing that will definitely get you back in the door. If you haven't given the price, but you got them all excited and said, I'm going to bring back a proposal with everything, you're definitely getting the next appointment.
But almost you think the first question we're going to be asking
is what?
Yeah, inevitably.
How much does it cost?
Yeah.
I tell you, you want to know the answer when somebody asks you what it costs? What's it worth to you? No. If they ask you a question out of the blue, what is it worth to you? The same way you can't answer my question, it would be difficult for me to right off the bat answer your question. What I need first is I need to get a little bit of information to see exactly if this is something that you'll even fit into this kind of investment. This is where I would take it away, because the person who's asking you how much it costs is a waste.
Asking you the question.
He's saying right off the bat, the first question they're going to come up with, which a lot of clients do, is the first question is how much does it cost? On the phone, while we're doing the marketing, they're already asking how much it costs.
Right.
The minute you give them the price, but even if you came in at the beginning and gave up the price at the beginning, you've closed their mind to the concept of the sale. He's now thinking $2.5 million, he's not hearing another word.
Your people on the phone should not be talking price
Never.
at all.
Never.
The price should not get
Correct.
released until
How much is it going to cost you if you don't get it?
That's a good question too.
And what their budget is.
I tell you what, another good one, how much money do you have to invest?
Yeah.
Anything that can make it, I have to tell you truly, I tell people when I'm in my sales cycle, when they want to ask me a question during the sales cycle, because remember, I set up the presentation saying I'm going to clarify everything. That's my goal today, to clarify it. When they ask a question, I will typically, and I've got to give a little explanation of why we do this, I'll typically I'll hand them my pen and pad, and I'll ask them to jot their questions down. And if I don't get to the answer, because I know I will get, I've done it for a long time, if I don't get to the answer, then that'll be a good question to ask me. Now, why would I want to do that? There's two major reasons. One thing I would add to your 4 steps is the number one. A sales representative must have complete control. If you don't have control of the prospect will sell you on why they're not going to get it or they don't need that or whatever. Okay? You must 100% have control. The reason is this. In the world, you have followers and you have leaders. The leaders are a tiny minority of the population, which means the vast majority of the people are followers. Now think about it.
You need to dictate the conversation.
That's right. So a follower by life, look at them, the way they live their lives. They go to a job where they're told what to do. They live a life where they ask everybody their advice on every single decision they make. There's a lot of commonalities between these groups. The leader and the follower are completely different. The leader is going to want to know what the big picture looks like. The follower is going to ask you how much it costs at the beginning. You watch, when you go out and read people from here on out, and I would suggest you get books on reading people. I read them all the time. I think it's very important knowing how to read a person. If a person asks you the price right off the bat, they are a follower mentality.
There's a good
Yes.
book on that.
I'd like to interject here.
Yes.
Ask me the price.
How much does the upright MRI cost?
$30,000 a month. Now, there was a lot calculated into that response.
Sure, sure.
Because what I'm trying to do, and then you say $30,000. So I say $30,000 a month. Then what do you say?
$30,000 a month.
Yeah.
Oh, that seems like a lot of money.
And then I say, well, how does that stack up against $200,000 a month in revenue?
It's a very quick way to cut to the chase. No
Now,
question
the
about it.
reason it's very important is because in the ordinary sales mentality, what's the price? $2.5 million, he stays.
Right.
But that's not the economics that are in actual practice when he has a machine. It's not $2.5 million. It's $100,000 a month, and he's got $200,000 a month coming in. So you have to get that prospect off the price because it's basically irrelevant. When he says, well, you charge 1.55 million and I can get it for 1.3. Well, doctor, that's probably $5,000 to $7,000 a month difference. Does that matter that much to you when you bring it in $200,000 a month?
Certainly an argument. The only thing why I was referring to it the way the question came was, if you initially come in, again, only my opinion, but I've used it many times, the most common first question is how much does it cost? And in my concept of the way I understand it, the way I've watched it over my career, is giving any indication that way, and it's kind of strange maybe to think this way, but allows the prospect now to feel like they can ask me anything they want. And I don't want it to be that way in the sales cycle. I want, like you were saying, to dictate the way that the presentation is going to go with them. So I would rather defer with some sort of an answer where I try not to give any indication to price until I've qualified them. Once the person's qualified, then it means something. And if you're having a hard time getting in for second appointments, it is a guarantee, if I hold back the price at the beginning, that they'll automatically give me that second appointment.
Well, the only thing I'm getting at is that you would like to reroute the thinking process as quickly as possible.
Right.
That it's not the $2.5 million that counts. It's what the monthly cost is relative to the revenue. And you want them to be thinking. You want him to be thinking in that vein, and not in the capital equipment business.
Right, but I think what you're really referring to is more once we're into the presentation and we're getting down to talking money, that certainly is a great way for giving the investment. At the very beginning, I just feel that is a great indicator to read your client.
Also, you could say, let me first show you what it's going to cost if you don't get the equipment.